Alright folks, so you ready for the reveal here? The last video I showed was the passenger side head, and we went ahead and got the driver's side finished as well, and this is what we got right here. So went ahead, got the driver's side head on, put on new valve springs in it as well. Had to replace 3 of the keepers because I ended up losing them. Unfortunately, never did find them. But had a little issues with that. And one thing I want to point out is you make sure when you buy them valve keepers there that go on them retainers that they are the correct. You got to make sure they're the correct degree. That is very important. Otherwise, you're going to drop a valve. This one ended up having 12-degree keepers in it. I thought they were 7, but they ended up being a 12. And that was very, very important. I mean, accidents happen. I lost 3 of them. This thing's been apart since January, and it's been down since Christmas Eve. But anyway, so I got all that replaced, and all that's been straightened out. We got all new valve springs in it on both heads and all, and 4 of the keepers back there. That last cylinder right there is number 7. I just went on and replaced the keepers on that last cylinder, but the rest of them are all original. All the original retainers, all the original exhaust rotators. That's what a lot of people call them. But yeah, you got to make sure these keepers match these retainers, because if you don't, then you'll drop a valve. Make very, very sure on that, and make sure you check it before you put everything together. I always take the valve and I'll take the keepers and assemble it, and you assemble that retainer on there and pull up on it. Should not have no play whatsoever, none. Should have no side play or nothing like that. And I had a pile of side play, and I had to do some research and finally figured that out. But these are actually 12-degree, and they were part number VL200. Is actually a milling, but that is very, very important because you don't want to drop a valve. But that's common sense. So that's something out there for y'all to know. If you buy a kit, make sure you get the keepers that go along with these retainers, and make sure you check that stuff before you assemble the heads. Make sure it's good and tight. You should not be able to wiggle that back and forth or nothing. Just check it on the valve. That's what I did. And I had a pile of play in it with them 7 degrees. And I put the 12 in it, and it was tight. You couldn't move and rock that thing back and forth at all. But anyway, I got that situated. And like I said, we got all new valve springs in here. And we got all new valve stem seals and all the O-ring seals at the top of the valve. All that's been done. I relapped all the valves in. And we replaced all our head bolts. So we got everything torqued to spec and torqued it down to 65 foot-pound. And we got the correct head gaskets on it. I kind of pointed that out already. But 305 and 350 head gaskets are completely different. So you got to watch out for that. Make sure this is 305 head gaskets only. So you got to watch out for that. But not sure if I'm going to run these valve covers or not. But I don't know. These are just kind of sitting on here. We mocked it up. That's the intake I wanted here. We do not have the exhaust crossover at all. Right there. We got away with that for performance issues. And that's why we got rid of it. Honestly, is get all the heat out of the intake. It actually helps the fuel and the air mixture atomize a little better. I guess that's the proper word for it. But it actually helps it and makes it run a lot better. So we got rid of that. I still got to get the oil fill tube. That's the main reason why I got this intake, is I want it to be, it's not really as close as I can get, but it's closer than what it was. But I want it to be a period correct, motor here for our Biscayne. And right now, I'd said over and over again that I was going to take this motor and make it look like a clone 283 with the 283 valve covers and the air cleaner and the ram horns and all that stuff. And we were going to do that, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I might end up taking, and I got a TBI 350. I might end up going a little different direction and just take this motor and just run it for now on this truck, because it's going to be a good while before we get that 454 in here. And I got to get this thing back on the road. I'm tired of stuff being, down. My Etzel's down. This has been down since Christmas Eve. And it was either Christmas Eve or either the day after Christmas. I can't remember which. But my Etzel's down. It needs an idler arm bushing yet for it. And then I got to get the idler arm bracket. I don't really want to modify it, to be honest, unless I can find another one. But I got to find another one. But if I can find another one, exact one like this, I'll take this one, I'll pull this one off and keep it because it's original to the car, and I'll modify a different one. But needs either arm bushing there on, well, not the drag link, but needs the one on the actual either arm needs that bushing there, and then I got to modify that bracket. And then they sent me 2 of the same threaded outer tie rods. So I'm waiting on that still, so that's been a kind of a mess. That was a little frustrating there. So they sent me 2 of the same outer tie rod, so I couldn't thread it on. And I checked in the original here on our original tie rod sleeve, and thought I was going crazy, but no, it's 2 the same. So had 2 right threaded ones, and not a bit headache. So they're supposed to send me another one there, so I'm waiting on that. So it's just one thing after another. But anyway, that's what we got going on here. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to keep rambling and do that too much. But I'm thinking about taking that TBI and just freshening it up instead, and using that motor. Because, it's just a whole lot, it's a better bore. It's 4-inch bore versus, 3 3/4 inch bore right here. And it can't really do a lot with these 305s, to be honest. The only thing that's really worth anything on it is the top end, maybe. If you want to, up the compression, like on a 350 or 283 or something. But other than that, and then they do have hardened seats. But the block, pretty much, it's a good motor except for the block. But anyway, enough about that. But yeah, I replaced this exhaust manifold here because it had a crack on the ear on the original. And I actually was a little upset about that because I bought it off eBay. It was a nice original, and then when I got it, it had a crack on the ear, so it was junk, pretty much. But I want to get rid of that alternator bracket, so that looks so much better now because we're not running a driver's side alternator anymore. And that got rid of that. That cleaned that up. And, of course, got rid of our ear being cracked down there. So that fixed that issue, too. And then I'm going to try and see if I can find some heat shields and get all that corrected. And then I'm going to get the plug wires for it, too. Get all that straightened up, and we're going to round them around behind our valve cover and then come through our motor mount right there and then come on up, because we want to get all this thing straightened up there. I'm painting it Chevy orange, and the intake ain't done yet. Like I said, this is just kind of mocked up. I'm not going to run them valve covers, honestly, but I might run them on this truck. But I'm right now, it's kind of up in the air right now. I mean, I've been saying that I was going to put this in the Biscayne. I'm kind of having second thoughts on it because there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I really rather have a 350. And plus that motor's a roller block, and I can't, like I've always mentioned, I cannot find no information or anybody that has taken, it's a 94 TBI motor, and put like double hump heads on it, or either, power pack heads, or, one of them two. I cannot find nothing on it and kept the factory roller cam. I just can't find any information on that. I don't know why I wouldn't bolt up, but that's what I'm doing. But anyway, that's what we got. So this exhaust manifold was replaced back in 2017. And I replaced it. I got to pull all this back off. I'm going to paint them exhaust manifolds. And I got to paint the intake again too. I just kind of roughed it up, but it kind of sprayed it there, but it ain't done yet. But I got to get the oil fill tube and the cap. I'm gonna try and find an original cap for it. I don't want a China one there, but got to get that yet. Get the correct thermostat, And I might be able to just run the same one I got. But that's why I bought this intake. I wanted an aluminum intake that had the oil fill tube provision there, which is what I wanted, and it's aluminum. And then I also wanted one that did not have the exhaust crossover. That's why I wanted it. And this one's actually from the 70s. It is an Expert Y-end intake. And paid quite a bit for it, that's for sure. But that's alright. But anyway, you know, when you want something, you know, you want it. So anyway, that's what I wanted. And got to looking at it. It definitely ain't perfect. I kind of got ripped off on it, to be honest. But, you know, you couldn't find them. You really can't. Edelbrock makes one, but they got that darn exhaust crossover, and I don't want that. They make gaskets where you can block it off, but I don't want to run those because I don't want to take a chance of them blowing out, and then, you know, it's just run funny and all that. I'd rather buy one and then take like this. But Uncle Tony, sometimes he'll take a set of his, he'll just weld them up. He'll just weld that crossover right on up. But, you know, I don't want to risk that on this. I mean, this is old 305, but I don't want to risk that on here. But anyway, so that's what we got here, and just kind of mocking it up. I still got to get plugs yet. I got to get plug wires. I got a brand new distributor for it. I got a 1-wire alternator that's going to go on here. We're going to get rid of all this trashy wire in here. We're going to throw all that away. And debating on this heater box here. I think I'm gonna see if I can figure out something about that, because eventually when I take this body off this truck and make it the way I want it, I'm going to keep the AC. I am going to put AC back on here. But I don't like that heater box. I cannot stand that because it's just big and bulky, and I like a nice clean firewall. I don't like a bunch of stuff in the way. But I don't know. So I got to decide on that yet. But we're really close though. We're really close. But by the way, I did upgrade the starter on here. We're not running the old style starter anymore. We're still running a 168 tooth flywheel there, but it's a high torque starter. And I mean, it's junk really, but an old junk China one. But when you like me and you poor and you ain't got a lot of money, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But it works okay, you know, but I had to play with it to get it shimmed correctly, but I got her now. But it definitely cranks it over a whole lot better. That's a little upgrade there, is, you know, upgrade you to a 1-wire alternator and a higher torque starter. Even if the motor's just stock and original, it cranks over so much better, and, you know, it's just a whole lot better. But anyway, this thing's gonna look nice. And I will probably end up using these exhaust manifolds on that Biscayne, because, you know, why spend unnecessary money when you got, you know, what you need right here. And the only difference between the originals on the Biscayne is they came straight down instead of 45 in the back like that. But I don't think it's going to really matter. It shouldn't affect nothing. But anyway, that's what we got. And hope y'all like it. And this ain't perfect, that's for sure, but we're just trying to freshen up, do a little performance upgrades, and I may or may not run that intake on this motor. I'm not for sure yet. I just want to see kind of honestly what it would look like. But I mean, I'm happy with it, but it's got a couple things going on. It's got a couple helicoils in it, and somebody's come in here and welded the right in there. They had welded the runner right there, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But rest of it's pretty good though. I mean, I don't really see. Well, one of the coil bosses back here holds the external ignition coil. That's been kind of welded on. The boss is busted off, but that don't matter anyway, because we're going to run a HEI distributor anyway. But you know, it's a couple little irritating things, because when you pay good money for something, you know, I know it's something older, but it's about quality, you know, and performance at the same time. I wanted to get one that did not have the exhaust crossover. I wanted an aluminum intake, and then I wanted one with the oil fill tube. So that way, you know, I could paint orange just like what I got here, and it looks like it's I mean, when you glance at it, it looks like a period correct 60s motor. But until you get up on it, then obviously it's not. But this intake's actually from the 70s. But I'd say early to mid 70s. But I had to look it up. There's no numbers or anything on it that I could find. But anyway, that's what we got. Thanks for watching.